One day, I was riding my bike home from school, and I came across a path that I'd never noticed before. I had some time, so I thought I'd go ahead and take the path. I was riding along, and the road got a little bumpier, and a little bumpier. And then some clouds started to roll in, but I thought I could go a little bit further. Then it started to rain. It was getting pretty bad. But up ahead, I saw a light. It looked like somebody's house. Maybe they'd let me stand on their porch until the rain passed, or at least call my mom and dad, and maybe they'd come pick me up. I got to the little house, and I knocked on the door, and the door was open. So I went inside, put my bike up on the porch, went inside the house. It was a nice little house. It was a little kitchen, a little table, a little bedroom, and a big green door that said, "Keep out." On the table was a little note. That house was there for people like me who got stranded coming along the path. It said, "Help yourself to any food in the fridge. Feel free to sit and listen to the radio, play games, take a nap, whatever you want. But whatever you do, don't open the green door." So I sat for a while and read a book, and the rain wasn't letting up any. So made myself a sandwich. But I really wanted to know what was behind that green door. No, the sign says keep out. So there was a Game Boy there, so I played a game. I really had to know what was behind that green door. So I went over, opened the door. There was a long, long flight of stairs. And I walked down the stairs and came to a big red door. It said, "No admittance." Well, I'd come down all these stairs. I wasn't going to stop now. I opened the red door. There was another long flight of stairs. So I went down those stairs. At the bottom, there was a big blue door, like the kind you see in a bank, a safe vault. And it said, "This is your last chance. Turn back now." Well, I'd come all this way. I wasn't going to turn back now. I slowly opened that door, peeked inside. Inside was a cage. In the cage was a giant purple gorilla. There was a note. It said, "Do not pet the gorilla. You can feed it. You can taunt it. You can poke it. You can break the chair over it. Just don't pet the gorilla." Well, the gorilla was kind of just sitting there. He looked rather bored. I kind of felt bad for him. There were some bananas, so I threw him a banana, and he caught it. Clearly, the banana was not that interesting. There was a stick. I poked him with the stick. "You big ugly ape, what's the matter with you? Why don't you do something entertaining?" I reached into the cage and I took the chair and I broke it over the gorilla. Wow. He looked so soft. His purple fur was just laying gently there. He was a very pretty gorilla and just looked so soft. Really, really, really had to touch that fur. It just looked so soft. So I reached one finger in and just barely touched him, and he jumped up and he ran out and he ran towards the cage and started. Well, I ran as fast as I could towards the door, the big blue door, and it said, "Told you so." And I ran up the stairs as fast as I could, but I could hear that gorilla right behind me. And I ran, and I got to the red door. "Don't say we didn't warn ya." Ran, and I ran, and I ran, and I ran. Got to the last door. "This is all your fault." And I looked back, and the gorilla was right behind me. I could hear him breathing. And I ran, and I ran, and I ran out the door, and I hopped on my bike, and I rode down the stairs, and I started to run. And I hit a rock, and I fell off my bike. And that gorilla, it was right behind me, and it was running. It came up upon me. It was right on top of me. And it reached out its big black finger. And it was huge and black and purple. And it reached out, and it touched me and said, "You're it." Storytelling has been part of human culture since we began to communicate. We've used stories to share myths and legends, pass on histories and knowledge. It's important that you not eat that berry. Stay away from this field. And through the years, some stories have grown to be bigger heroes, bigger myths, bigger legends. But they're an important part of who we are. Almost 2 years ago, one of my coworkers had heard something on the radio and thought I would enjoy it, so decided to share. And I joined Spellbinders. Spellbinders is an organization that, I'll tell you what Spellbinders does. Oral storytellers that share the rich traditions of stories that teach, amaze, and enchant community area school children. It was 4 weeks, I think, of training. It was just once a week for 4 weeks to learn to be a storyteller. And sometimes this seems simple, and sometimes this seems complicated. I tell stories. I've been doing this for 2 years. I tell stories to first graders at Dunn Elementary in Fort Collins. I have 3 first grade classes that I tell to once a month. This is what I do with my vacation time. And I actually think it is a great use of my vacation time because it is my favorite day of the month. These kids are so happy to see me. And it's kind of shocking because I don't have children, and apparently everybody thinks that I hate children. But this is what I do with my vacation time, so I don't hate children. The looks on their faces, there's nothing more rewarding than seeing these kids and how happy they are to see me. And Spellbinders is great and supportive in that they're teaching new stories, teaching you how to tell stories, and the difference between telling a story and reading a story. I don't read to the kids, I tell. This is also challenging in that I'm not reading, I must memorize more or less what story I'm going to tell. And again, I don't have kids, so sometimes I have no idea what kind of stories first graders like. Am I telling something? Because my first year I had a couple of stories that were, at the end of the story I got nothing but blank stares. It was, okay, mental note, don't tell that story. But the purple gorilla story they really love. I have a couple of stories that they really love. So this has been a learning experience. And it has been so much fun. So I brought some information about Spellbinders if anybody else is interested in becoming an oral storyteller or learning how to be an oral storyteller. They have the training session, I'm going to say August and January, so just twice a year. But there's always kids that need to hear stories. And it's always a lot of fun. So happy storytelling. The end. Thank you. And here's some papers if anybody wants more information.